T.I. beats on 100, you heard?
You are tuning in to T Consciousness. Please like, comment, and subscribe and hit the notification bell. Thank you. What's going on social media? It's T Consciousness, and I'm back at you with another video telling women if they didn't want me in their prime, I don't want them in their decline. It's very important to a man that he experiences a woman's body when she's in her prime life. That's the period of time in life where she's the most pure and untainted by other men and doesn't have any children by any men. So a childless woman who has little to no experience with men is the perfect birthing ground that a man could build a legacy on. She's more available to mentally and emotionally and spiritually adapt to one man and be molded by him. Once a woman starts sleeping around with men, she collects telegony, which is data information that's within a man's semen that the biological computer of her body uses for the rest of her life. And whatever child forms in her womb, that child will conform by DNA to the remnants of the DNA of other men that has dropped seed in her body. The neurological, psychological, and biological information within semen that's passed on to a woman takes effect on her psychologically. It takes effect on her instincts, her behavior, and all of this becomes symptomatic of her communication. This predicament leaves a psychological effect on a woman and not being able to pair bond. It lowers the propensity of oxytocin building up in her brain, which is a pair bond chemical that allows a woman to be safe and in harmony and love to build a connection with a man. The physiological stamina of a woman's body depreciates the more she has sex with other men. Her body conforms to who all these men are, psychologically, neurologically, and biologically. And it also has a spiritual depth effect to it too. A lot of women who grew up fatherless girls tend to get in a lot of trouble in life, dealing with bad men who represent the streets, who have one purpose with their body, is sex. And they feed them all this euphorical game to get them to fall in love, to make them think that they are the perfect guy to fall in love with and breed with, and things turn out totally different for the worse. A woman who has no solid moral compass in life tends to move unruly and promiscuous, and her archetype nature is a match for a man who lives by no boundary and order. This is an epidemic in our urban community. Women breed for a good time, for a good feeling. Men do the same to feel good and gain some sociological stamina with women to brag amongst other men. A lot of women who tend to be very good looking and beautiful with the makeup and the curvy body, the fat butt, they rank a 6 and up. They have this whole aura about themselves as they're a damsel in distress. The baby fathers don't want nothing to do with them. Their family don't want to deal with them because they've done a lot of character shaming things to themselves, and they've done a lot of things to hurt the character of other people. They got over on people in situations. They backstabbed people, betrayed people, played other people against other people. They even played a role in being home-wrecking interference to marriages, or a man, his girlfriend, and probably made a baby in the midst of it, or even got involved with men in the streets that has to do with rivalries and stuff like that, and they just use their body as an instrument to get what they want out of life. They use manipulative games on people and stuff, and cause and effect took its course with them, and they internalize it as victimization. Never took accountability. Remain a damsel in distress. Everybody hate me, nobody loves me, without a cause type stuff. Society never held a high standard on good-looking women to be the best versions of themselves when it comes to human ethic quality. Because they look so good, society caters to them, but yet they have bad attitudes and bad life ethic systems of thinking. These type of women come across many men in a lifetime, but they tend to give their bodies to the guys that they can't depend on to be a consistent husband of quality or a father with fatherhood qualities. They tend to only adapt to situations that can only bring them pain for some type of emotional gain, and they feed off the fantasy euphoria these guys feed their mind with the game they give them to stay put. But a guy that automatically comes along and implement everything and the stable qualities of a husband and a father, it seems like it bores them or deters them or just keeps them in a place of settling, knowing that their needs are going to be met. They don't have to economically fend for themselves dealing with this type of man, but they can't get sexual euphoria and fun out of this type of guy that comes out of the fun with dealing with the bad boy that they can't rely on for family legacy purposes. I'm not gonna settle down with no woman I tried to get with since I was 19 all the way to 22 years old or 24 years old. And 10 years past now, we're 34, and she got 5 kids by 3 or 4 different guys. and she's been through a lot of traumatic experience with each one of these men and other men outside of her baby's fathers. This woman is nothing but the epitome of a struggle I can only experience with her, coming out of a life that she lived that she could have been avoided the experience of if she would have got with me at 19 years old when I found her desirable. And she just liked me for my good looks and my friendly vibes, but she wasn't sexually turned on to give me the time of the day like that. So she moved on with her life and ignored me online, or I just forgot about her. She forgot about me. We moved on to other people. Now she finds me valuable enough to give her time to, and that tells me a lot that I'm a last option. You don't value me. Your interest in me is based on your struggle for your need of me now. That you can't depend on the guys you found sexually attractive. That's really no benefit. Now you found out I got my life together now. I got some money in the bank. I'm looking good. I got my own place. I got a car, I got credentials and education in this field and all this good stuff. Now you want to give me the time of the day. But where was all this energy 10 to 12 years ago? I'm telling you, if you didn't want me in your prime, I don't want you in your decline. Your sex market value depreciated greatly by all the telegana you collected and all the physiological wear and tear your bodies went through bearing children, and the psychological wear and tear your minds went through dealing with all the traumatic experiences you had with men. I'm not gonna get the euphoria to the propensity I would have experienced in your young age before you experienced all this stuff. What you've been through defines every man that's been through you. And everything in this predicament can only define what I would go through dealing with you. I only get less of the thing you let other guys experience at its best. Women age the more they have sexual experiences with men. Their body loses its elasticity, their titties drop, their butt drop, their vaginal organ becomes stripped, loses its grip, and sometimes if it still has its grip, the vagina in their mind is stripped. This is why women lose a sense of sensory for normal sex with average sized men. This is where this whole idea of needing colossal sized men to hit them in their uterus and beyond the organism of their uterus to feel something, because they've been desensitized to the sensory of sex by the overuse of it from different partners, and it really damaged their whole organism of being a woman, psychologically, neurologically, and it takes a spiritual effect and also biological effects. I don't want to deal with the woman who's been ran through, damaged all her good years, and before she went through all the trauma, she had me in her inbox, or she had me around her in high school or the neighborhood, and she didn't give me the time of the day. She just gave me mediocre experiences, let me take her to the chicken spot in the neighborhood, or when we was back in high school, she let me walk her home every day after school, and I watched her date all the bad boys hitting wheelies on the dirt bikes in the neighborhood, the niggas who were shooting in the neighborhood and stuff and selling drugs, and I would see her time to time pushing a baby carriage or hiding a black eye, and she would just wave me off, hey, Timmy, how you doing? Keep it moving. I'm telling you, I wouldn't take these women serious if they want to really give me the time of the day, because your interest in me is based on a struggle that I can only get communication that's symptomatic of it. Dealing with a woman in her decline after being denied in her prime will have me depriving myself of having true love, an actual true organic connection that's not based in everything this woman experienced in trauma with men. I'll be depriving myself of a legacy of my own. I'll be depriving myself of her effort of being a wife. I'll be depriving myself of getting the utmost respect. I'll be depriving myself of a sexual experience I can have at a blissful high propensity. Men who settle in situations with women that pick them last after they watch them live a long life of promiscuity and in and out of relationships with different men. You were the stick around guys she had locked in the friend zone. Now she chose you. Or if you wasn't around her, you was always watching her from social media or seeing her around locally, and now she wanna pick you. It's not that you were special, it's because she had no better options that equate to the options she had in her good years. Any guy's connection to a woman in this situation is based in her trauma. There's a trauma bond he internalizing as love, and his predicament with himself has him in a low state to be vulnerable to her game, to feel debted with guilt, to do everything in her expectation to be deemed as a good man and save her from all her troubles for the reward of her body, all because he has no better options than the opportunity he has with this woman in this predicament. Another thing I want to say is a woman's past is everything. Where she's been will determine where yous go. See, when it comes to relationships, men are codependent on respect. Women are codependent on emotional euphoria for a connection. All a man really wants is respect. And a man's respect would depreciate in the eyes of other men around it, because in male nature, it's so vital that other men who stand for alpha principles get respect from other men that supposedly stand for those same principles. Men don't respect a man that's with a woman that many men around him has ran through. You look like a joke and a beta simp sucker for love. It's not abundant for a man to be with a woman that's experienced all the men around him. He doesn't have anything sacred. He doesn't have a woman who represents the essence of an honorable wife when she's been nothing but available for the streets, and now you're with her trying to play a monogamy role in her life. You look like a joke. And all the guys that's experienced her body can use their experience to get the one up on you. Other men know your woman better than you will ever know her. And women don't look at this from this depth because they're not men, and they can't fathom what it is to live in the shoes of a man and live up to everything in the sociological order and compounds of being a man, because they're living their life on how they want to, and society never held them accountable for it. That's why they can't even fathom cause and effect when it goes into play on their life with a man who has a reaction to things that's critical to her past. And she's like, that's not who I am anymore. I'm not there anymore. Women feel like they're being judged in their past is being used as a weapon to depreciate their character, who they are currently. That's why you gotta be careful on how you moved in the past. Your past has a lot to do with where you are currently and where the heck you can go. And it also takes effect on your man. There goes his reputation. Your reputation is already shot with men. Now his reputation is shot in the eyes of his community, dealing with a woman who was sexually available for the community. And there's nothing spontaneous that can come out of that type of experience, knowing where your woman's been before you, that the community could give you spooky testimonies on. I'll say it one more time, brothers. If she didn't want you in her prime, you shouldn't settle for her in her decline. Well, that's enough for today. You'll see me next time when I upload my next content. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thank you.